sequel to Richard II. King Henry IV in the late 14th century usurped King Richard II and took the throne. So that was in Richard II, and now we're in Henry IV, where it is.
What time of day is it, lad?
Thou art so fat-witted with drinking of old sack, and abutting thee after supper, and sleeping upon benches after noon, that thou hast forgotten to demand that truly which thou wouldst truly know? What the devil hast thou to do with the time of the day? Unless hours were cups of sack, and minutes capons, and clocks the tongues of bawds, and dials the signs of leaping houses, and the sun himself, a fair hot wench in flame-colored taffeta. I see no reason why thou shouldn't be so superfluous to demand the time of day.
Indeed, thou come near me, Hal. For we that take persons go by the moon and the 7 stars, and not by Phobos. He that wandering night so fair. And I prithee, sweet wag, when thou art king, as God save thy grace, majesty, I should say, for grace thou wilt have none.
What? None?
No, by my troth, not as much will serve to be prologue to an egg and butter.
Well, how then? Come. Roundly, roundly.
Well, marry then, sweet wag. When thou art king, let not us that are squires of the night's body be called thieves of the day's beauty. Let us be Diana's foresters, gentlemen of the shade, minions of the moon, and let men say we be men of good government, being governed as the sea is by our noble just mistress, the moon, under whose countenance we steal.
Thou sayest well, and it is well too. For the fortune of us that are the moon's men doth ebb and flow like the sea, being governed as the sea is by the moon. As for proof now, the purse of gold most resolutely snatched on Monday night, and most dissolutely spent on Tuesday morning, God was swearing, lay by, and spent with crying, bring in. Now ill is low and ebb as the foot of the ladder, and by and as high a flow as the ridge of the gallows.
By the Lord thou sayest true, lad. And is not my hostess of the tavern a most sweet wench?
As the honey of high blood, my old lad of the castle, and is not a buff jerkin a most sweet robe of durance.
How now? How now, mad wag? What are thy quips and thy quiddities? What a plague have I to do with the buff jerkin?
Why, what a pox have I to do with my hostess of the tavern?
Well, thou hast called into a record many time enough.
Did I ever call for thee to pay thy part?
No, I'll give thee thy due. I has paid all there.
Yea, and elsewhere. So far as my coin would stretch, and where it would not, I've used my credit.
Yea, and so used it then. Were it not here apparent that thou art heir apparent? But I prithee, sweet wag, when thou art king, shall there be gallows standing in England, and resolution thus fubbed as it is with rusty curb of old father antic the law? Do not, when thou art king, hang a thief.
No, thou shalt.
Shall I? Oh, rare. By the Lord, I'll be a brave judge.
Thou judgest false already. I mean, thou shalt have the hanging of the thieves, and so become a rare hangman.
Well, how well. And in some sort it jumps in my humor as well as waiting in the court, I can tell you.
For obtaining of suits.
Yea, for obtaining the suits. Where if the hangman hath no lean wardrobe, his blood I'm as melancholy as a guide cat or a lugged bear.
Or an old lion, or a lover's lute.
Yea, or the drone of a Lincolnshire bagpipe.
What sayest thou to a hare, or the melancholy of Moorditch?
Thou hast the most unsavory similes, and art the most comparative rascal of the sweet young prince. But Hal, I prithee, trouble me no more with vanity. I would to God thou and knew where a good commodity of names were to be bought. An old lord of the council rated me the other day in the street about you, sir, but I marked him not. Yet he talked very wisely, but I regarded him not. And he talked very wisely and in the street too.
Thou didst well, for wisdom cries out in the streets, and no man regards it.
Oh, well, thou hast damnable iteration, and art indeed able to corrupt the saint. Thou hast done much harm upon me, Hal. God forgive thee for it. Before I knew thee, I knew nothing, and now I am, if a man speak truly, little better than one of the wicked. I must give over this life, and I will give it over. By the Lord, I do not. I'll be a villain. I'll be damned for never a king's son in Christendom.
Where shall we take it first tomorrow, Jack?
Zounds, where thou wilt, lad. I'll make one. And I do not call me a villain and baffle me.
See a good amendment of life in thee, from praying to first taking.
Why, how, 'tis my vocation now. 'Tis no sin for a man to labor in his vocation.
I know you all, and will a while uphold the unyoked humor of your idleness. Yet herein will I imitate the sun, who doth permit the base contagious clouds to smother up his beauty from the world, that, when he please again to be himself, being wanted, he may be more wondered at, by breaking through the foul and ugly mists of vapors that did seem to strangle him. If all the year were playing holiday, to sport would be as tedious as to work. But when they seldom come, they wish for come, and nothing pleaseth but rare accident. So when this loose behavior I throw off, and pay the debt I never promised, by how much better than my word I am, by so much shall I falsify men's hopes. And like bright metal on a stolen ground, my reformation, glittering over my fault, shall show more goodly and attract more eyes than that which has no foil to set it off. I'll so offend to make offense a skill, redeeming time when men think least I will.
But for my own part, my lord, I could be well contented to be there, irrespective of the love I bear your house. He could be contented. Why is he not then? In respect of the love he bears our house. He shows in this he loves his own barn better than he loves our house. Let me see some more. The purpose you undertake is dangerous. Why, that's certain. 'Tis dangerous to take a cold, to sleep, to drink. What I tell you, my lord fool, out of this nettle, danger, we pluck this flower, safety. The purpose you undertake is dangerous, the friends you have named uncertain, the time itself uncertain, and your whole plot too light. What a counterpoise of so great an opposition. Say ye so, say ye so. I say unto you again, you are a shallow, cowardly hind, and you lie. What a lack-ring is this? By our Lord, our plot is a good plot as ever was laid, French true and constant, a good plot, good friends, and full of expectation. An excellent plot, very good friends. What a frosty spirited rogue is this? Why, my Lord of York commenced the plot and the general course of the action. Zounds, and I were now by this rascal, I could brain him with this lady's span. Is there not my uncle, my father, and myself, Lord Edmund Mortimer, my Lord of York, and Owen Glendower? Is there not besides the Douglas? Have I not all their letters to meet me in arms by the night of the next month? And are they not some of them set forward already? What a pagan rascal is this! An infidel! Ha! You shall see now in very sincerity of fear and cold heart will he to the king, and lay open all our proceedings. Oh, I could divide myself and go to buffets for moving such a dish of skimmed milk with so honorable an action. Hang him! Let him tell the king. We are prepared. I will set forward tonight.
I know not whether God will have it so. For some displeasing service I have done, in his secret doom, out of my blood, he'll breed revengement and a scourge for me. But thou dost in thy passages of life make me believe that thou art only marked for the hot vengeance and the rod of heaven to punish my mistreadings. Tell me else, could such inordinate and low desires, such poor, such bare, such lewd, such mean attempts, such barren pleasures, rude society as thou art matched withal and grafted to, accompany the greatness of thy blood, and hold their level with thy princely heart?
So please your majesty, I could, quit all offense with this clear excuse, as well as I am doubtless I could purge myself of many I have charged withal. Yet such extenuation let me beg, as in reproof of many tales devised, which oft the ear of greatness needs must hear, by smiling pickthanks and base newsmongers, I will. For some things truer in my youth have faulty wandered in irregular, and pardon on lily true submission.
God pardon thee. Yet let me wonder, Harry, at thy affections, which do hold a wing quite from the flight of all thy ancestors. Thy place in council thou hast rudely lost, which by thy younger brother is supplied, and art almost an alien from the hearts of all the court and princes of my blood. The hope and expectation of thy time is ruined, and the soul of every man prophetically do forethink thy fall. Had I so lavish of my presence been, so stale and cheap to vulgar company, and common hackney to the eyes of men, opinion that had helped me to the crown had still kept loyal to possession, and left me in reputeless banishment, a fellow of no mark or likelihood. By being seldom seen, I could not stir, but like a comet I was wondered at. That men would say, this is he. Others would say, where? Which is Bolingbroke? And then I stole all courtesy from heaven, dressed myself in such humility that I did pluck allegiance from men's hearts, loud shouts and salutations from their mouths, even in the presence of the crowned king. Thus did I keep my person fresh and new, my presence like a robe pontifical, never seen but wondered at. And so my state, seldom but sumptuous, showed like a feast, and one with rareness, such solemnity. The skipping king, he ambled up and down with shallow gestures and rash bavin wits, soon kindled and soon burnt, carded his state, mingled his royalty with capering fools, had his great name profaned with their scorns, and gave his countenance against his name to laugh at jibing boys and stand the push of every beardless vain comparative. Grew a companion to the common streets, and fiefed himself to popularity, so that being daily swallowed by men's eyes, they surfeited with honey, and began to loathe the taste of sweetness, whereof a little more than a little is by much too much. So that when he had occasion to be seen, he was but as the cuckoo is in June, heard, not regarded, seen, but with such eyes as sick and blunted with community afford no extraordinary gaze, such as is bent on sunlight and majesty, when it shines seldom in admiring eyes, but rather drowsed, hung their eyelids down, slept in his face, and rendered such aspect as cloudy men use to their adversaries, being with his presence glutted, gorged, and full. And in that very line, Harry, stands thou, for thou hast lost thy princely privilege with vile participation. Not an eye that is aweary of thy common sight, save mine, which hath desired to see thee more, which now doth, but I would not have it do, make blind itself with foolish tenderness.
I shall hereafter, my thrice gracious lord, be more myself.
For all the world, as thou art to this hour, was richer then. When I from France set foot at Ravensburg, and even as I was then, is Percy now. Now, by my scepter and my soul to boot, he hath more worthy interest of the state than now the shadow of succession. For of no right nor shadow like to right, he doth feel fields with harness in the realm, turns head against the lion's armed jaws, and be no more in debt to ears than thou, leads ancient lords and reverend bishops onto bloody battles and to bruising arms. What never-dying honor hath he got against renowned Douglas, whose high deeds, whose hot incursions and great name in arms, holds from all soldiers chief majority and military title capital through all the kingdoms that acknowledge Christ? Thrice hath this Hotspur, this Mars in swaddling clothes, this infant warrior in his enterprise, discomfited Douglas, taken him once, enlarged him, made a friend of him, to fill the mouth of deep defiance up and shape the peace and safety of our throne. And what say you to this? Percy, Northumberland, the Archbishop's Grace of York, Douglas, Mortimer, capitulate against us and are up. Wherefore do I tell these news to thee? Why, Harry, do I tell thee of my foes, which art my nearest and dearest enemy? Thou that art like enough, through vassal fear, base inclination, and a starved spleen, to fight against me under Percy's pay, to dog his hills and curtsy at his frowns, to show how much thou art degenerate.
Do not think so. You shall not find it so. And God forgive them that so much have swayed your majesty's good thoughts away from me. I will redeem all this on Percy's head, and in the closing of some glorious day be bold to tell you that I am your son. But I will wear a garment all of blood, and stain my favors in a bloody mask, which, washed away, shall scour my shame with it. And that'll be the day, whenever it lights, that this same child of honor and renown, this gallant Hotspur, this all-praised knight, and your unthought of Harry chance to meet. For every honor sitting on his helm, would it were multitudes, and on my head my shames redoubled. For the time will come that I will make this northern youth exchange his glorious deeds for my indignities. And I will die 100,000 deaths ere break the smallest parcel of this vow.
100,000 rebels die in this. Thou shalt have charge and sovereign trust herein.
Dog fell over. Yes, sir.
Readily the sun begins to peer above yon western hill. The day looks pale with this temperature.
The southern wind doth blaze trumpets to his purposes, and by his hollow whistling the leaves foretells a tempest and a blustering day.
And with the losers let it sympathize, for nothing can seem foul to those that win. Now, my lord of Worcester, it is not well that you and I should meet upon such terms as now we meet. You have deceived our trust, and made us doff the easy robes of peace to crush our old limbs in ungentle steel. This is not well, my lord, this is not well. What say you to it? Will you again unknit the churlish knot of all abhorred war, and move in the obedient war begin, in which you did show a fair and natural light, and be no more an exalted meteor, a prodigy of fear, and a portent of broached mischief to the unborn times?
Hear me, my liege, for my own part, I could be well content to entertain the lag end of my life with quiet hours, for I do protest I have not sought the day of this dislike.
You have not sought it. How comes it?
Rebellion laid his word, he found it.
Peace, Truett, peace.
It pleaseth your majesty to turn your looks of favor from myself and all my house, and yet I must remember you, my lord. I was the first and dearest of your friends. For you, my staff of office, did I break in Richard's time, and posted day and night to meet you on your way and kiss your hand, when yet you were in a place and in account nothing so strong and fortunate as I. It was my brother, myself, and his son that brought you home and boldly did out there the dangers of the time. You swore to me, and you did swear that oath at Doncaster, that you did nothing purpose against the state, and claimed no further than your new fallen right, the seat of Gaunt, the dukedom of Lancaster. To this we swore our aid. But in short space it did rain down fortune, showering on your head, and such a fortune fell on you. And such a fortune fell on you that with our help, what with the absent king, what with the injuries of a wanton time, the seeming sufferances that you had borne, and the contrarious winds that held the king so long in his unlucky wars that all in England did repute him dead. From this swarm of fair advantages, you took occasion to be quickly wooed, to gripe the general sway into your hand, forgot your oath to us at Doncaster, and being fed by us, you used us so as that ungentle gull, the cuckoo's bird useth the sparrow, did oppress our nest, grew by our feeding to so great a bulk, that for love, our love thirst not come near your sight. For fear of swallowing, but with nimble wing, I was enforced for safety's sake to fly, and raise this present head, whereby I stand opposed by such means as you yourself have forged against yourself, by unkind usage, dangerous countenance, and violation of all faith, and troth sworn to 'tis in your younger enterprise.
These things indeed you have articulate, proclaimed at market crosses, read
in churches to face the garment of rebellion with fine colors that please the eye of fickle changelings and poor discontents, which gape and rub the elbow at the news of early innovation. And never yet did insurrection want such watercolors to paint his cause, nor moody beggars starving for a time of pell-mell havoc and confusion.
Both our armies, there is many a soul shall pay full dearly for this encounter, if once they join in trial. Yet this before my father's majesty, I am content that he shall take the odds of his great name in estimation, and will, to save the blood on either side, try fortune with him in a single fight.
And, Prince of Wales, so dare we venture thee, albeit considerations infant do make against it. No, good Worcester, no. We love our people, even those we love that are misled upon your cousin's part. And will they take the offer of our grace? Both he and they and you, yea, every man, shall be our friend again, and I'll be his. So tell your cousin, and bring word what he will do. But if he will not yield, rebuke and dread correction wait on us, and they shall do their office. So be gone. We will not now be troubled with reply. We offer fair, take it advisedly.
It will not be accepted, on my life. The Douglas and the Hotspur, both together, are confident against the world in arms.
Thence therefore every leader to his charge, for on their answer we set on them. And God befriend us, as our cause is just.
Now, thou see me down in the battle of the striving soul. Disappointed friendship.
Nothing but a colossus can do thee thy friendship. Say thy prayers and farewell.
I wish we're bedtime, Hal, and all well.
Why, thou owest God a debt.
'Tis not due yet. I would be loath to pay him before his day. What need I be so forward with him that calls not on me? Well, 'tis no matter. Honor pricks me on. Yea, but how if honor prick me off when I come on? How then? Can honor set to a leg? No. Or an arm? No. Or take away the grief of a wound? No. Honor hath no skill in surgery then. No. What is honor? A word? What is that word, honor? Air? A trim reckoning? Who hath it? He that died a Wednesday? Doth he feel it? No. Doth he bear it? No. 'Tis insensible then. Yea, to the dead, but will it not live here with the living? Why, detraction will not suffer from it. Therefore, I'll none of it. Honor is a mere scutcheon, and so ends my catechism.
Oh no, my nephew must not know the liberal and kind offer of the king. Then are we all undone. It is not possible, it cannot be, that the king should keep his word in loving us. He will suspect us still, and find a time to punish this offense and other faults. Suspicion on all our lives shall be stuck full of eyes, for treason is but trusted like the fox, who never so tame, so cherished, and locked up, will have a wild trick of his ancestors. Look how we can, or sad, or merrily, interpretation will misquote our looks, and we shall feel like oxen at a stall. The better cherished, still the nearer death. My nephew's offense shall be well forgot. It hath the excuse of youth and heat of blood, a hair-brained Hotspur governed by a spleen. All his offenses live upon my head and on his father's. We did train him on, and his corruption being taken from us, we, as the spring of all, shall pay for all. Therefore, in any case, let not my nephew know the offer of the king.
My uncle is returned. Deliver up my lord of Westmoreland. Uncle, what news?
The king will bid you battle presently. There is no seeming mercy in the king.
Did you beg any, God forbid?
I told him gently of our grievances, of his oath-breaking, which he mendeth thus, by now forswearing that he is forsworn. He calls us rebels, traitors. Aid will scourge with haughty arms this hateful name in us.
Oh, gentlemen, the time of life is short. To spend that shortness basely were too long if life did right upon a dial's point, still arriving at the end of an hour. And if we live to tread on kings, if die brave death, when princes die with us. Now for our consciences the arms are fair, when the intent of bearing them is just. Let each man do his best. And here draw I a sword whose temper I intend to stain, with the blood, finest blood that I can meet withal in the adventure of this perilous day. Now, Esperance, Percy, and so set forth. Sound all the lofty instruments of war, and by that music let us all embrace. For heaven to earth none of us never shall a second time do such a courtesy. Woo!